Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You've reached the Boho Info Show. And yes, another day, another dollar, another piece of information that we all maybe need to share, right? So, yeah. And it's been an interesting week. Definitely a lot of interesting new news coming out, but a lot of new structuring seems like it's happening here in the US a little bit. And I even caught earlier today a little bit of Silicon Valley messing with me. So yeah, hey, it is what it is, and everything is noted in place. But anyway, let's continue into the show. I hope you all join me. For those who don't know where I'm at, I'm over here in YouTube lands. We're still up at the moment. If any reason they censor me, which I'm in the state of Florida, and according to the governor, they cannot no longer take me down for censorship. Then that will be another issue to take to court with them, right? But in the meantime, we're back up and we're in YouTube land, but we're also on Twitter, Gab, MeWe, USA, Brighteon. Um, oh, geez, there are probably 10 other sites that I'm probably on. And if you miss a real live show, I always have my chat room open when I'm doing a little live show for the people in the live show situation. So follow the link of where you're hearing this program from and become a follower of it, because I have a live show either on the stream, which you'll see that's going running through YouTube, or running through another stream provider. And trust me, YouTube is not the only stream provider out there. So yes, you can follow me wherever you see me, and we'll continue on the show. Now, just to let you guys know, make sure you have a piece of paper, pen, and pencil with you. Write down, jot down any notes that you might need to take. You can always stop, start, and replay anything. And if you are lagging or missing or something skipping in your live feed, you can always reload it. Also, take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Do your own research just as much as I do my research. You never know where it may provide you even further information, or more of whatever I'm talking about. But also, too, take everything with a grain of salt. Toss it over your shoulder for protection. But then, you know, don't always go by what I'm saying. Do your own research for one. Number two, also, when it comes to making any kind of comments or anything, I make opinions throughout my program. Everybody knows that on every program that I've ever done. I've always stated my opinions at the time of the event of things that I state. And also, I also give you links to where I'm talking about the topics from, so that you can check the links yourself to the story or the comments or the topic of whatever we're talking about. And then, of course, I add my own comments to it, my 2 cents. But anyway, and we make no medical claims or any claims otherwise either. So it is on you, okay? So let's continue into the show, and we'll check out what we're going to talk about. Now, this is going to deal with Florida news. And the reason why I'm showing the nation how to deal with the Florida part of it is to set an example so that other states and other residents and citizens of other states can learn by what I'm trying to teach them. Okay. It's kind of like, not really a tech thing, but it's kind of like teaching them how to question your politicians and how to research it, and what to look for and where to find things. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that topic, and then in Florida here, but then we're also going to talk about the rising food costs. Yes, the rising food costs, and how it's affecting everybody, and what we can do to deal with these rising food costs and the cost at the stores, and things that we need to do now to figure out where we can save money and extend our dollars, since they're clamping down so hard on everything. And this would be helpful for the preppers out there, the Marfugo family, military, ex-military, senior citizens, and all that stuff. So that will be towards the middle of the end of the show kind of thing. So Stay tuned. Get yourself a cup of coffee or something to drink and your paper and pencil and pad, and jot notes through the program as we go, and sit down, because here we go, right? So we're going to be talking about this in Florida, Nicki Fried person, right? And when I pulled up her thing on this, which I will give you guys the link here when I get it done, it comes up here as a commissioner, right? Well, a lot of people, I didn't know anything about her. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder how many other millions of people here in Florida don't know anything about her, you know? And yet we're going to be coming on what they call the midterm thing, right? Of doing their voting, right? And here we are, we're starting to see all these politicians starting to surface that's coming out, that's running, right? And they're saying her against Graham, I guess it is, here in Florida. And I've already seen Graham in office down here, and I see what he's doing, and he really didn't do a good enough job. In fact, to me, Graham is a two-face. He flips-flops from a Democrat to Republican Party, back to Democrat to Republican to back and forth. You don't know if he's coming or going, okay? So I'm probably even voting for him, right? Then the other thing is this lady here, okay? Now, she is a Democrat, people, okay? Now, for those who are taking sides, that's on you. You do your own thing, okay? I'm just giving you things to question, okay? And things to make you think, okay? But anyway, she was a 12th commissioner of the Agricultural and Consumer Services, and supposedly a lifelong Floridian. She's been an attorney and also an activist, guys. Now, why do we need a politician as an activist or an attorney? I mean, I could see the attorney part a little bit, but not an activist. And that's where I have the flag go up on that one, right? Just think about that. Set that back in your head a minute, right? But here's the thing. Every state in the union, plus the nation, needs to have business people that have a successful record that runs our highest level, because it deals with checks and balances. It doesn't deal with legalities. Legalities are learned through business and vice versa, right? That's just my opinion, okay? But anyway, she was born and raised down in Miami, graduated University of Florida, bachelor's, I guess, and master's and Juris Doctorate degrees. Let's see. She's now listen to this. She was an attorney, head of the felony division of Atchilala County. I guess that's how you say it. As the defender's office. So here's the thing. Maybe some people over there got some, thing with her, when they went to court. I don't know, just put that in the back of your head, right? But then also she worked with a private practice in South Florida defending homeowners against foreclosure in 2000-2008 housing crisis. Now, how many of you guys know about that housing crisis? If you don't, you better go research a little bit about that and then get into the stuff that she did, you know what I mean? But here's another thing. She also was working at law firms as a government consultant. Now, I'm sorry, that's a major red flag. Why is that a red flag? Because government consultants don't need to be part of a private law firm and vice versa, and then have the availability or the area where they're allowed to go further and get into politics. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like having a government contractor, but it says she was a government consultant, right? Same thing there, right? They'll say no, but yeah, it's the same thing. But anyway, let's see what else. She was also, she formed her own firm as an advocate in Tallahassee for the at-risk children in Broward County School Board, for an expansion of patient access to, and also, and for the expansion of patient access to medical marijuana. So she's for medical marijuana, right? And then she's also, I guess, help at risk children in Broward County. Now, if you guys remember the first time they had their little check in the box for Florida here in the last previous election, right? Wasn't it Broward County that had little problems over there? Yeah, go research that. Think about that. Think heavily about that one. And then also here, she also had careers serving other numerous organizations, including Young Lawyers, chair of the Broward Days Board Directors, Legal Needs for Children Bar Community, Girl Scouts of Southeast Florida. So it's always high-end stuff, and it seems like right here, if you just read this part of this paragraph right there, it was all dealing with legalities of organizations. Okay. Now, just think about that. And didn't we see this with other politicians in the Democrat area? Just think about that, right? All right. And then she's also a member of the Florida Blue Key, the oldest and most prestigious leadership and honorary in the state of Florida, too. So she's supposedly high statute legalities. Okay. So that would give me a thing where, okay, we can't really trust that situation to me. I would not say that she would be trustworthy enough for me to vote for her, but that's just my opinion. You guys can do your own. Here, I'm going to run the link on the bottom of the page. You can check the link on this one, on the information I gave you on that one. Okay, I'll have that run through a minute. If you guys have any comments at all, too, put them in the comment area. I'll get back throughout the show. If I see something, I'll try to answer your questions throughout the show the best I can, and we'll take it from there. Now, the other thing, and I want you guys to share the show because I think a lot of people in Florida don't have vital information on this that is critical. There's a lot of people that need to research their politicians here in Florida, let alone any state. And I'm showing you guys how to do it, okay? Now, every state, anybody that votes in a state here in the United States should be doing what I'm doing. Every person. I don't care how rich or poor they are, okay? Every person. For those that are poor and you don't have a computer, you can do it on your cell phone, okay? Same way I'm doing it. Okay. All right. So here is the other link. Yes, the other link I want to give you guys to Nicki. Now, this one is really interesting. Y'all can look this up. I'm running the link around the bottom of the page. But let's see. She's an American lawyer, politician, served for the 12th Florida Commission of Agricultural Situation since 2019. She's a member of the Democratic Party. And she's a lobbyist for marijuana industry. Now, a lot of you guys are worried about the medical marijuana abuse and the laws, but some of them want to be passed because it could be beneficial. Here's my thing with the lobbyists. When it deals with a lobbyist and trying to push through the marijuana industry, they can go overboard with it to push it to the point where it does extra protections against individuals that normally would not be there, for one. Number two, it also gives them an equal right kind of situation because it's now classified where they have to, take it. So now they're protected because it was under doctor's orders, and then, the HIPAA thing and everything else under the sun, you know what I mean? Right? Then here's the other thing, right? She was one of 17 speakers at the 2020 Democratic National Convention. She was a speaker at it. Let me see what else. There was some other good stuff down here. Okay. Let's see. Now, she does come from her parents being divorced at 13. So I look at this also. So those who believe in God and Jesus and the Bible and all this stuff, okay, So you have to also look at your politicians morally. Okay, what type of moral standards do they have? You know, are they in good? Are they in bad? Are they coming from a different type of religion? What is it? You know what I mean? So her, she comes from divorced parents. So she evidently was not raised in her teenage time, on up to adulthood with both parents at the time. Okay. That can have a, what do you call it? A psychological damage on a person's when it comes to convicting somebody of something, not giving them a second chance, third chance kind of thing. Maybe if it was minor, maybe the lack of discipline. And I don't mean on herself, but for someone else. It could mean that she'd be more for the single parent than she is for the married parents. You know what I'm saying? You're starting to feel me a little bit there. So it's about morals and how she deals with morals as a governor, right? That has a major factor in it. But she did graduate high school, of course, went to University of Florida and all that, right? And let's see, what else? So she's got several law situation degrees and all that spectacular stuff going on. Let's see what else here I can tell you about the situation on her that was kind of raising a flag. All right, let's see. So she covered the North Central Florida area of when she became a public defender on the 8th Circuit Court back in 2006, and was also a foreclosure defense lawyer at her father's South Florida law firm. Now, that was from 2009 to 2011. When she joined the law lobby of Colati and Foss, I guess, among major clients as a lobbyist for the Hillsborough Area Transit Authority. Now, that's where I'm going to start raising some red marks here on her, right in this area here. You guys can look it up on your own link that I've given you. But she basically was a lawyer and a lobbyist for the Hillsborough Area Transit Authority and Walt Disney, Duke Energy, and HCA Healthcare. Now, we're going to stop right there a minute. For those who haven't gone down the rabbit hole to research these companies, and you better write these down. Hillsborough Area Transit Authority, number 2, Walt Disney, number 3, Duke Energy, number 4, HCA Healthcare. I can tell you this, okay, from living past situations, that where's my little pointer here? The HCA Healthcare was part of another scam that happened with a politician. Some of you may or may not know it in Florida, but that was Rick Scott. Okay, go down his rabbit hole, find out what that was all about. There is actual court depositions in YouTube on that. And last I looked was last month, and they were still up. So, and you could check the records on them too as well. But here's the thing: when you have a lawyer, high-profile lawyer at that, I'm not going to say real high, but a pretty high profile lawyer with an activist background and representing corrupt industry heads and companies and corporations like these 4, that runs into a political ethnical problem. And what I mean by that is not only politically and ethically, but morally as well, as for most people who have their set standards, okay? You can also research, and I did past shows on it, people have done past shows on Disney on the corruption with Disney and everything involved, what private politicians were involved, what other companies were involved, also what secret societies were involved. Okay, it's all part of the big what do you call it? One world order thing. Okay, but also look at Duke Energy. Remember all those problems that we're having with energy, through Texas, even though that was private, and then we had California with shutting down power, and then other things. Okay, she's got her hands warmed up, mixed up, hands in type thing with transportation, a one world order superpower, which is Walt Disney, energy, and health. She did her homework very well. She is extremely corrupt. Okay? Because when a lawyer sits here and represents these major clients, yeah, it helps her and her law firm, but it does not look good on her for morale and standards and someone that you can trust, knowing that she's been in cahoots with and washing hands with and being involved with physically for these people that do not represent the people. Okay? So you have someone here with transportation that will rip you off and that basically are, telling you where you can go, when you can go, and how much it's going to cost you to go, which is Hillsborough Area Transit, right? Then you got Disney, which is One World Order, which goes to the G Summit and all that stuff, okay? And then you got Duke Energy, right? Which is dealing with whether you are going to have power to live by. And then you got your health care. So the doctor you go to, the hospital you go to, the medicines you get kind of thing. Very smart woman. Tricky. I would not trust her pastoring her. I would not vote her in. This is all my opinion. Okay. You guys can do your own homework. But I suggest you go into those different companies and check out their money trail, reverse the money trail in those four, but also check out the corruption. And then check out her ties, which is the ties I'm showing you in front of you. And I would not, I wash my hands of the whole deal. I wouldn't be involved with it. I wouldn't vote for her. But that's just my opinion. You do your thing. Anyway, here is the main client here. Let's see. In 2016, she established her own lobby out of Broward County, which we know Broward County had a problem with election problems before, as this last one and the one before it, okay? Because they tried to steal in 2010, I believe it was, on the election, and they got caught. Remember that? Yeah, here in Florida. And then they tried to do the same shit again, pardon my French, on this one. But here's the other thing. Her main clients was the school board of Broward County and also statewide medical marijuana industry. So now she's got her hands in your kids' education, okay? And she's got the hands into basically a drug operation, which is the marijuana industry. Now, you want to talk about corrupt, put all those 5 pieces or 6 pieces together, and you have a little miniature deep state swamp. Okay? Now, she also recently blossomed following a passage of the Florida Amendment 2, which legalized marijuana usage in the 2016 election. So she was behind pushing it and successfully getting it through on the 2016 election. I guess she helped with that situation. Now, here's something interesting in the 2018 election from her. Let's see. All right, let's see what we can find. Okay, they're telling me about her. She was faced off with a Republican, Matt Caldwell, out of North Fort Myers, I guess. And then, let's see what else. She got into the Florida Department of Agricultural and Consumer Services rather than being the Florida Department of Health. Now, she could have gone either way, But it's a good thing she didn't get into the Department of Health, because then that would be really big problems for all you poor people that are on the system. Okay, so you can thank your lucky stars that she didn't get in that direction, right? Also, let's see, during the campaign, pled to ensure full background checks on complete gun permits. So for those who are on the gun amendment or the IRA, or the NRA, I mean, sorry. She was the one that wanted the complete gun permit checks on everything. Let's see what else. She also endorsed the Amendment 4, which would automatically restore voting rights to most felons following completion of their sentence. So she was for the criminal to vote again. Okay. Let's see what else here. She was endorsed by, of course, the big papers, Tampa Bay Times, Sun Sentinel, Palm Beach Post, Sierra Club. Now remember, Sierra Club is connected to the Green Deal situation, okay? Equity of Florida, Everytown for Gun Safety, and the Brady Campaign. Let's see what else here. Now, also, let's see here. It says that, okay, it tells her about everything, how close she came into the elections and how many votes and all this stuff. And I'm not really going to go into the numbers because I've given you guys the link on the bottom of your little thing there. You guys can look it up if you want to. But she was also the one that redesigned the certified gas pump sticker. So when you see the Florida Department of Agricultural sticker on your gas pump next time you gas up, that's her. Okay, that's her. Let's see what else. Also, here's what's interesting on her a little further into 2018. She opposed the 2018 United States-Mexico-Canada agreement and the free trade deal that officially replaces the 1994 North American Free Trade Agreement. Okay. She was against that, all that. In 2019, the Democrat Party, Javier Fernandez, targeting Florida on the gun laws, the bill HB 809 would have required attention for fingerprint records, required proof of completion of firearm safety training, and then for the license renewal, and also reduce the terms for a concealed permit and all that stuff. Now, let's see. It says here that in 2019, she appointed 2 registered lobbyists for the Sugarcane League to consult on Lake Okeechobee System Manually Project Delivery Team, which was set to advise the Army Corps engineers on the procedure of the lake levels. So remember, right now we're under this problem with all the algae and the Lake O, but they also had construction for that area to filter out some of that water from the sugar industry and from the runoff of the golf courses and things, I guess, that were out that way. So she's all part of that whole situation there a little bit. And then she also was, let's see here, 7 Florida environmental groups, including, Florida Everglades and Florida Trust, called members to remove and criticize their appointment, and Fried would defend the appointments as expert consultants. So we had, so the Friends of Everglades, so this is all new stuff to me a little bit. Friends of Everglades is a conservation activist organization group to preserve, protect the Everglades, and with global environmental problems and references and stuff. So she was up against not to protect the Everglades, it looks like here. And so she was defending the sugar industry. So when you have a politician defending a big corporate situation like that, especially in the location that it's at, where it's not going to protect it but do harm to it, and then you've got a lawyer like her on top of it that may be doing the same, okay, it adds to the problem even further, okay? So think about that next time you have blue-green algae or whatever in your canal, your lake, your pond, whatever that might be near you, or even on the beach, okay? Let's see what else here. Let's see. She did one good thing. She granted federal waivers to provide free meals to students despite schools being closed as a result of COVID. So she did some good there. Let's see. In the beginning of 2018, she engaged in a lawsuit against Georgia, claiming that Atlanta was siphoning too much water for the use from the Flint River as a part of the Appalachia River system, which flows south into Florida before draining into the bay. The lawsuit alleged that Georgia used too much water, causing an increase of salinity into the Appalachia Bay area and estuary areas. And then that caused collapse of the oyster fishery and resultant income and job loss to 98% of the Florida oyster industry. So it looks like she was trying to engage in a lawsuit, maybe to protect, let's see. Yeah, it was a lawsuit against Atlanta to protect the water so that they're kind of like protecting the Florida oyster man, I guess, fishing the oysters. And then let's see, what else here? Here's another interesting little tidbit, which is kind of interesting. In April 2021, the Florida-Georgia situation was updated. And it said that it was taken to the Supreme Court, and they're saying that it wasn't enough evidence for the result of an oyster collapse situation. And at that time, Fried had chosen not to present testimony from either oceanographers or marine biologists, instead of relying only on reports of hydrologists and statisticians. Now, see, that's right there proof of morals, okay, and common sense that she lacks 100% in right just on that alone, okay, because if you're a lawyer, you want to get all the experts. You don't want to get nobody out, if your, thing is good or bad or whatever it might be when you're taking it to court, right? So when you have marine biologists that can actually give you water samples, give you bottom of the water ground area for samples, and you also have oceanographic people that are specialists in the field, specialists with the oysters, specialists with the ocean, which is the oysters and the oceanographers, right? And the marine biologists, then, she basically, called the bluff, is what I call it. And okay, we'll get you to court. You give me all this money, but I'm not going to take it all away. I'm going to only take it halfway. And that's exactly what it represents. So do you really want someone that's going to make that kind of decision that doesn't follow through? That shows me she didn't follow through. Okay. And also, she could be greedy, where she's pocketing money from the person that she's representing, kind of thing. Okay. This has many different things on that, which does not look good on her. Morally wise, let alone just common sense, sometimes common sense can, get you in some trouble. But, if right's right, then you represent it all the way. You know what I mean? Or you just don't do it halfway. Now, the other thing is her fiance. Okay. She had a relationship with someone called Jake Bergman, which is her fiance, and he is prominent marijuana entrepreneur in Florida. So do you see why she wanted to pass the marijuana legislation in Florida, and it did pass, is because of her husband. Her husband was the actual entrepreneur, heavily probably involved with the industry. Okay. So you got to think the corruption is already there now, just as much as I'm talking about throughout the page. It goes hand in hand in many different directions. And she's basically following suit the same way like Pelosi and Clinton's and a few other ones. So why would you trust to even put her in the office of any sort? Okay, I wouldn't. Okay. Let's see, what else here? Yeah, it says right here that they've already put a red flag on her, basically saying that her relationship with Bergman has been criticized as a confliction of interest, and his business result in dealings with the Florida Department of Agriculture. As a result, he purchased in 2019, or they both did, or he did, a house in 2019 worth $700,000 in Tallahassee. To Freed, that was seen as a possible violation as a Florida gift. See, so right there, okay, is a violation. So why would you even put her on a ballot? I mean, how stupid are these Democrats? Seriously, how stupid are they, really? Okay? Not even, I mean, common sense is common sense. It's right here in front of your face, people. Just look at it, read it. Okay? And the possible violation is a violation. Okay? There's no possible. It is. It's yes or no. You know what I mean? And it says, which does not allow the election officials to receive gifts over $100, even in person offering a gift to a romantic partner. So think about that, right? So, yeah, $700,000 house in Tallahassee, and she's flagged on it. All right, in 2020, let's see. They had supposedly an argument between each other in Fort Lauderdale from a car accident in a parking lot hotel. Which they say he threw a trash can and shoved her. And let's see, she denied it later. So she's covering his butt. See? So, what? Again, okay, right here in this clause right here, read all that right there. But she's covering his butt so he don't get in trouble, so it doesn't have any red marks against her or her family, make her look bad in the future. See what I'm saying? Shoot, if you got a red mark, just come out with it. Say, hey, man, I made this mistake in my past, and it is what it is, but I learned from it. I'm living on. I'm going forward, All right. Let's see what else here. But no arrests were made, right? That's what I figured. They didn't want no other thing happening. Let's see. And she even denied even physical abuse to her and purged a number of high-level staffers to criticize him with. So she even fired an employee saying something bad about him even. So that's very interesting. So here are the numbers from the past history on some of her people that she might have been against, including people of her own party, like this David Walker, okay, and the Republican over here, okay. So, again, I would not vote for her. I mean, she's not trustworthy in my book of my vote. I'll put it that way. I mean, and that's about the best, nicest way I think I can say something about the whole situation with her. But when you can't trust her morally, ethically, you cannot trust her, whether it's dealing politics or otherwise. And then she's covering up her own legal problems at home, and then she's being handed gifts even if it's from her spouse, and other things. I'm sorry, but no. I mean, the GOP and Republicans, I hope you all, listening to me and pushing this word forward to your own party there. But yeah, she's a red flag big time. I wouldn't even put her on a ballot. I mean, honestly, it would be the worst mistake the Democratic Party could possibly do, because all this stuff will come out hard and heavy if it gets to surface, if she gets on the ballot. Okay. And then, trust me, I'll get, let Sanchez here have DeSanchez, whatever his name is, have a heyday with her on her troubles, because there's at least 5 different areas of red flag areas on her that could be a situation, not only for herself in the future for politics, number one, number two, with the actual Democratic Party. Very corrupt individual here, people. So I'm putting this out as a Florida alert, urgent alert to not even endorse this person or, red flag it and not even put an X in the box for it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just want to give you that update. All right, so we got that part of my show done. Now, the other part, if you guys got comments, you can put it in your comment area, okay? And we'll answer it through the show. Now, this next area is the middle part of my show that I want to talk to you guys about a new area that I've added for you guys to have a tool to work with, because we're in an economy right now that kind of represents the Great Depression. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon unless the TV man can get into office by this fall. So it's something you're going to have to deal with for the next 4 years. Now, most of you guys went to the grocery stores. They do their grocery shopping wherever, and you get lumber at the hardware stores, and you notice our hardware is going up in lumber and other goods, right? So I'm here to help you survive, to prep up, to learn to be more efficient, more frugal, and maybe put some extra money in your pocket, okay? So this area here, which I'm going to give you guys the link. Did I give you guys the link? Yes, I did. Okay. The link that I've given you guys on the bottom is the link to my newest page. Check that out. I will also post, my show will be posted in Twitter, and people who didn't get this link will get it in the Twitter. If you know somebody that needs the information, send the link of the show to them so they get this information. Just let them know where in the show it starts. But yeah, this part is a kind of tool to help go over some things. And this is going to have recipes in it too for you guys. It's not going to be the modern stuff. And I'm going to have chefs laugh at me and whatever. I don't really care. I'll take your laugh with a grain of salt and throw it over my shoulder. Okay. Because this is for people that don't have a lot of money. Okay. And even if they do, they're being frugal. This is another way to help them be more so. Okay. But we have to go over the past, because some of the wartime stuff, because my grandmothers lived through the Great Depression. They actually verbally told me a lot of things that happened. I've actually cooked some of the recipes or watched them being cooked on what they were doing and how they shopped and everything. So all this stuff is going to be valuable information, not just for the regular person, whether they're a senior citizen or, someone on a budget or low income or a prepper, but all of it. Okay. So the link's on the bottom of your page. It's running around the bottom of the page. But there's different areas here that once you get into that link, you can blow up certain things. And I think the biggest thing nowadays, especially with people going in the grocery stores, they really don't know what the hell they're buying. They don't read labels. They don't look at how many ounces of the food that they're getting for the price. And on the cuts of meat, they're going to, they don't know the difference on the cuts of meat. They just know it just, someone in the back room cut it up. They don't know, what part of the cow it came from or the chicken or whatever, or they don't, even if it was a crappy piece of meat, they don't know how to make it better and what types of ways to cook it to make it better, right? So this one here deals with a 1942 homemade war type scenario of cuts of meat. And you can go into it once you get into my link. Make sure you're a follower of my link, by the way, so you can get this new information every now and then. I'm going to shoot new recipes in there, plus this other type of stuff in there too. But yeah, it talks about, the ways you cook things, but the actual different ways of where your hamburger comes from, maybe how to plan your meal, you know what I mean? How to conserve and how to salvage. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of Americans out there salvage things into other things. And instead of going to buying something online, did they go around the neighborhood to see, like let's say, hey, you want to grow a garden, right? Because you want to be self-sustaining. How many guys go out to the store to buy a pot, right? You go to the hardware store, or Home Depot or something, right? Or gardening center, right? And then you buy also a plant, like, oh, you want to grow tomatoes, and then you buy tomato plants. No. Just on the pot alone, plus the actual plant, you're going to end up paying anywhere from $15 to $20 for a nice sized plant. Okay. Now I can save you that 10 to 15 to $20 by you using your tomatoes that you got from the store, you squeezing out the seeds, and you only using the other part of the tomato in your cooking. And then with those seeds, you dry them out. Once they're dried out, you can plant them, right? Well, with a pot, okay, instead of you going to the store to get the pot, you drive in your car around your neighborhoods when you have trash day and see if anybody's throwing out some pots. Stop, pick them up, and take them in. Right? Take them in and take them home. And then when your seeds are dried, plant them. And then you'll have your own tomatoes. And it saved you $15, $20 for every plant, for every pot. Now that alone, if you did that, let's just say you did that 4 times, okay? Just 4 times. That's what, $60? And everybody's saying, well, $60 doesn't get me anywhere at the grocery store. No, it probably don't. But then clip your coupons on Sunday and look for special deals in your mailings, okay? And utilize those with making meals, okay? But anyway, I just want to show you this. That's one. I'll show you the other ones. If you got any questions, put it in the comment area and I'll try to answer you guys. Also, a lot of people don't realize that if we ever have a World War III, if we do, I'm just saying a what if, you're going to be seeing things like this, the rationing book. They had ration books for clothing. They had ration books for food. Believe it or not, they actually had rationing books for sugar, coffee, tea, meats. Okay, you're only allowed a certain amount of meats. Even clothing, right? And then also, a lot of people don't know what to do if there's a blackout. Because remember, if we're in a war, you're facing a blackout. Are you prepared? Do you have a generator? Do you have a solar situation? Do you have candles? Do you have an alternative way to cook your foods? Okay. So there's a lot of that you have to think about. And you're going to say, well, I don't think we need to worry about war right now. Well, yeah, I think we do, because here's the thing. Any of you guys recently seen what's going on with China right now, or what's going on over there with, by Israel and all that area? Okay, just look at your news, your international news, what's happening on the east and west side of the world. Okay. Also, too, if you go to my Twitter account, you'll see an area, or you can even research it, where they'll give you the US's, oh, what do you call it? The code for different color codes for how high alert we are in the nation, kind of thing. I forgot what they call it. I should have had that prepared, but I didn't. I'm sorry. But anyway, and then also too, if we go through a situation where, you can't, like our store shelves are getting dry right now on certain things. If you run short, and let's say you want to make some stuff, but you don't have certain items because we don't have all the Betty Crocker crap, you know what I'm saying? Or all the extra little fun stuff that normally goes into baking, right? Well, here's a simple recipe again, real easy, okay? It's called potato candy. Now, they did this just for historical, your info kind of thing, way over in Ukraine, Poland, and Russia area, because during the times of the war back then, they were going through the same thing with rationing. So they only had certain items to deal with things, right? So it says here you can take 2 to 3 medium potatoes, and then 1.5 to 2 pounds of confectionery sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of butter, and some peanut butter. And all it does is mashes everything up, blends it all together, and then you roll it out on a wax paper, and you can sprinkle it with powdered sugar, and then you can shape it however you want to. This is, in this recipe, it says shaped as a rectangle. But yeah, whatever you want to do. And then it just, it becomes a cookie, kind of, or not cookie, but a candy, So everybody's so used to having things from the store shelves, and get them out packages, but not realizing how many ingredients goes into that candy, And when you're in the war, some of that, you're not going to see that stuff on the shelf, right? Even with the food shortages that we're having now, you're not going to see a lot of these ingredients to make things with. So you have to search out alternative recipes on other things too, as well. Here's another perfect example of growing your own garden to be self-sustaining, especially right now with such high prices of the grocery store. I don't know how to emphasize this to anybody, to start growing their own fruits and vegetables, But for example, this one here, it gives you an actual what months to plant certain things in. So like, for example, this one here is like, let me see here. Tomatoes from February to June. You can plant tomatoes. Okay. Now I imagine it depends on also where you're at, but this one is from Georgia. So this is maintaining for like the South area of the United States. If you're within the region of that, somewhere else, in the world on that same longitude area, then it's probably the same for you. But corn, March through July, squash, March through June. Let's see what else here. Peppers, like bell peppers, February through June. Let's see. So they have different time ranges, just to give you an example where you can start. And those items I told you, by the way, are things that you already probably buy at the grocery store. You just got to save the seeds and dry them out. I don't know how many times I tell everybody, anything you buy from the grocery store in produce, save the seeds. Now you're going to say, well, hey, I bought beets, or I bought green onions, or I bought lettuce. Well, do you know, with romaine or leaf lettuce, all them, if you leave roughly 2 to 3 inches worth on the bottom, you can regrow another one. Okay. Going to have to research it on YouTube. Look for the videos of how to grow it. Okay. Because I'm not at that point where I can show you right now. Maybe I can do a video tomorrow if you come back tomorrow, maybe on it a little bit. But even green onions. Now, green onions kind of grow like a succulent. I've actually grown and had very healthy crops from it. I've never bought green onions in almost 10 years. Okay. So yes, I do my own gardening as well. You can do the same thing with mangoes. Get yourself a mango from the store. You're going to have to dry it out first, pop the seed out, and then plant it. Okay. Let's see. What else can I show you guys? Also, how to stretch milk supplies, because that's another thing. Dairy products will become a problem, especially right now, even with high prices. So a lot of people are saying, hey, what can I do with milk? How can I save my milk longer? Well, here's the key. Remember all those little containers that your juice comes in, your milk comes in, your creamer comes in if it's plastic, apple juice, any juices, okay? Clean them out really well, rinse them out really well, okay? Get the labels off of them if they're able to get off, and save them. What you do with a gallon of milk that might go on sale, and look for your coupons and all your flyers and stuff, but take half of that out and put it in another container and then put it in the freezer. And you're like, ew, really? Wouldn't that become like ice milk then? Yeah, if you drink it that way, I guess. But seriously, when you pull it out, you fully let it thaw out in your refrigerator. Don't let it thaw out room temperature. Thaw it out in your refrigerator. Okay? After you're all done with the other one, and you'll have milk. Okay? Also, you can also do this. You can also take milk, put it in ice cube trays, and it makes ice cube. Once the ice cube forms and it's hard, you can put it in Ziplocs. If you have a dehydrator, you can also dehydrate it. That's if you only have a dehydrator. So those give you some tips there, some ways. This one also here gives you other things what to do with it as well. And then people say, well, hey, my milk's spoiled. What do I do with it? I had to throw it out. No. Do you know you can actually use your spoiled milk? People don't realize that. They don't know what to use it for, right? So I'm going to give you some little tidbits on that too. Let me see what I can do. You gotta find the area of it. So, like, milk can be used in your potatoes, cream soup. This is if it's good milk now. Can be used in your potatoes, cream soup, vegetables, custard, ice creams, puddings, different types of cereals, and so on. It can be used in sauces sometimes, in soups, right? But like your bad milk becomes like, what do you call it? Not sour milk, buttermilk. Becomes like buttermilk. So if you want to make ranch dressing, your spoiled milk with a little bit of vinegar in it, okay? And then get yourself a ranch salad package, and you can make ranch dressing from it. So even if you think you're going to throw it away or keep in your refrigerator, you still can keep in your refrigerator, but still watch how much time beyond your spoilage. Because what I would do is actually take the spoiled milk, put it in a Ziploc, or put it in, a way to store it in the freezer, and label it as for buttermilk. And then you can pull it out to make your dressings with it, right? Your ranch dressing and stuff. Also, it can be used in pancakes. Like the buttermilk can be used in pancakes and things, waffles and all that, okay? So that gives you some ideas where not to throw the food out, kind of thing, right? Then, give me a minute here. What was some of the other ones? People were asking me, like, what type of things were rationed with clothes? How could they ration clothes during, a situation where we have a supply and demand problem like we're doing now, or war, right? Well, think about your normal retailers where you get clothes from. All of a sudden you might see a shortage because they no longer can bring the stuff in from China, right? Or there's a shortage because there's not enough help to bring it in, number one. Number two, if there's a war going on, of course they're going to need to, clothe the people that are doing it, right? Now, this also goes to even thrift stores. Even though it might be a good idea to check the thrift stores to see if they have any of the clothing and shoes and stuff like that, okay, which would save you a tremendous amount of money. But if we're in a war, they may not even have anything. So what happened back in the Depression, this is from 1941, and this gives you an example of clothing rationing kind of stuff. Okay, they would actually give you a coupon. Okay, and then for example, like, let's see, let me have to look at it really close here. If you're an adult, it would be a certain amount, and then if you're a child, it'd be less amount, kind of thing. Okay, so for example, a coat, a jacket type thing, the adult have to turn in 13 coupons to either the retailer or person that actually was selling the coat, okay, in order for them to qualify to even get and buy that coat, right? And if it was a child, then they would only need 8, right? But it also went down to not only coats, but also pants, slippers, boots, leggings. Pantyhose were so scarce. I don't think they even had any out there. Aprons, shoes, skirts, blouses, jackets for the men, and their shirts for the men. Let's see, stockings, handkerchiefs, gloves and scarves if you're living in the north. All that, everything that was made of any kind of fabric that you would put on your body anywhere, it was rationed. And you would have to have coupons to redeem to go get something of that, and you couldn't do it more than once a month. So, in most places. So I had to throw that out to you guys because I'm not saying you go out and search the stores on all this stuff that I'm telling you, but it's to help you prepare, because there's a lot of preppers even out there that doesn't have this information, that might need this information as well. As well as being the frugal part of it and all this stuff. So yeah. And then there's some ideas here on breakfast, what to do for breakfast to be more frugal. I'm going to be going through some of the stuff. I think I'm going to be maybe getting some shows put together where I can show you some frugalness, I guess you'd say, on things, and how to use things in your house, whether it's making things or cooking with it, or even outside, from growing things to making things from stuff even that you have in your yard, you know. A lot of people don't realize if they have a lot of weeds in their lawn, some of those weeds are actually wild lettuce. Okay. Also, a lot of people don't realize, like at lunchtime, a lot of men went to work. They had their own lunch boxes. Nowadays, all the men, they buy lunch out. Well, guess what? When those prices keep going up, you're not going to be able to go out to eat for lunch. You might be able to go out for dinner, but you won't be able to go out for lunch maybe. And then you have to learn how to go back to the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and all that and eat that kind of lunch. Now, you're asking me, like, okay, like, what did they have for lunch, right? And they'd have a lot of spreads. And this, I know some of this food may sound gross to a lot of you guys out there, but it's something that has to be looked at, because we're heading that way right now. You know what I mean? But this is from 1943. But they would have all kinds of spreads. So you know how everybody likes egg salad, chicken salad, tuna salad kind of thing? Okay. Well, back in the day, that was considered prime. You know, that was like, ooh, you know, you're worth $1 million. You can buy that, you know. Back in the day, they couldn't afford a lot of that. So what they did is they actually made sandwiches like bacon cheese sandwich spread, a cheese dried beef sandwich that was made into a blend that was spread on a sandwich, cream cheese blended type sandwiches. So they'll take like cream cheese and herbs and smoked salmon, and they would blend it all together, and all of a sudden you spread it on a sandwich, and there you go, you know. They would actually do even cream cheese with jelly. And the reason why they did jelly is because a lot of the homemakers, like my grandma and all them, would actually make jelly, jam and jelly in their houses, and they would store it away. And they needed a protein, so they would actually take the cream cheese, spread it on the sandwich with the jam, because the jam had the fruit in it to give you the sweet, but at the same time it gave you the protein from the cream cheese, right? Phenomenal stuff going on. But let's see, deviled cheese spread. When was the last time you've ever heard of deviled cheese, right? Or deviled ham? Remember deviled ham? I think they still sell that in the store. So yeah. And then egg and celery salad. Now, that one is also where the celery is pureed, like in a blender. And then they add it to the egg salad so that they would have protein and a vegetable. And then by the time you put it on a piece of bread, that's your starch. So it was almost a well-balanced meal minus the fruit. But I've actually heard of people actually adding certain fruit to it, like pineapple or something like that, Pimento cheese spread. That's still going on even to this day. Deviled egg spread, that. Red kidney and lima bean. They'd actually puree that together, spread that on. It's kind of like bratwurst, or not bratwurst. What's the other one? Liverwurst there. And they still do liverwurst in the store, So, and I know a lot of these things are like, you would think, oh, they're gross. But, this is the stuff that's going to maintain you. There's so many people out there right now buying emergency supply kits and stuff. They just don't know how to maintain what they already have and do what they have and know how to can it. A lot of you guys out there don't know how to can stuff. Maybe better, go to the library or go to a bookstore and buy canning books to see how you can stuff and how you can dry stuff in the sun. Especially here in Florida, take advantage of the sun, or anywhere in the South, in the States area. Start drying food outside. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you got an animal problem, of course, you're going to have to build something to protect that from. But you know what I'm saying, Let's see. Someone else was saying something else about, meats. Yes. This will give you an example, because right now we had a meat shortage, right? So this is going to touch base a little bit about the meat shortage kind of thing and what they allowed or not allowed to do. But they actually had what they call meat rationing. And this is what the elite could do. They actually can go back to these ways where you have to know what you're being rationed and how much you're allowed to have per month, because this didn't go week to week. You weren't allowed to go to the grocery store every week. You were given X amount of coupons or X amount of stamps or whatever it was that you redeemed, plus your money, okay? And then you buy whatever items that you were able to buy, right? And back in 43, they had what they call nutritional value standard up here on this one page for this one. But it says, for example, it'll give you example, like 1 pound of ground beef. Now, we know how much that's just one ground beef is, right? It's anywhere from $5 to $10. A pound, depends on what your grade of meat is, right? But you're only allowed one pound of ground beef that served about 4 to 5 people. And you're thinking, 4 to 5 people, shoot, that's just 2 burgers for me. Some of you men out there, right? Because you eat a half-pound burger, right? So imagine 1 pound of beef, right? 4 to 5 servings they're trying to get out of it, right? And you had to turn in 7 points for it. Then 1 pound of porterhouse steak, which was serving 2 to 3 people. So you know how you have these big beef eaters out there, where they can eat big steak by themselves? That won't happen anymore. Not anymore. So you got to learn to use like that 1 pound of porterhouse. And if there's 4 people in your family or 2 or whatever, that you're going to have to get that many servings out of that one piece of meat, right? So back in the day in 43, they had to have 12 points for that. Now, what they consider a serving back in 1943, which is kind of important because they could have posed something similar to that now in the modern time, but according to a higher perspective, I think, would be like round steak. A 1/4 pound would be 1 serving. Or chops, whether they're pork or lamb or whatever, a half a pound would be one serving. Or a bone-in roast, a third pound would be considered a serving. Spare ribs, 3/4 of a pound would be considered a serving. So, if they only allow a certain amount of servings, that goes according to how many stamps you're able to turn in and how many was given to you and your family. See what I'm saying? Very interesting how they did things back then that people don't know anything about now, that was never taught because they don't have any living relatives to tell them how things went, and thank goodness I'm here to help you guys with that. But yeah. And then let's see what else here. Good way to look at things. If you don't have any old newspapers, you could go in the National Archives and look into 1930s, 1940 recipes, kind of like this one here I have in the middle right here. And it'll give you a breakdown using only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items to make banana bread. 7 to 8 items make banana bread. And shortbread was very heavily used back in the day because it was a substitute for regular bread. And at the same time, it was nutritious because it had either fruits or vegetables in it. Some people make zucchini bread, banana bread, whatever kind of bread, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And then they also made alternative breads like out of barley, oatmeal, rice, potato, nut, and raisin, because they couldn't afford or get or make and have enough flour to make white bread or regular bread. You know what I mean? The same thing in the morning when they wanted an alternative for breakfast, they would make donuts. Or this one here, which is very famous. I remember my mom actually did this, and I asked her where it came from. She says her mom, because they did this in the Depression, and it was called milk toast. And what it is slicing bread and toasting it. And they're taking, let's see, it says slices of toasted bread with 1 quart of boiling milk, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of flour, half a cup of cold milk, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And so they would add all the ingredients to the milk basically and heat it up kind of thing, except for the flour. I think that was done a little bit later. And then once that happened, it would become not really, maybe almost like a porridge, but not quite. And then the toast would be put into the stuff and coated, and then they would eat it, right? Well, my grandfather would take warm milk just in a bowl with some toast, and he would just sprinkle sugar on it, and then he would eat it that way. That was their substitute for breakfast, right? I'm just saying, alternative stuff. That's why it's important that's on the prepper's list that you have sugar and honey and things to make bread with, whatever. So yeah. Let's see. Now for those, let's see here. Oh, okay. This gives you another idea. This is the big one. I wanted to show you one of the big ones anyway, is what was rationed and what they allowed you to have per week, right? For example. And if you add it all up, it's like one of the, that in 1 month, pretty much, you know what I mean? Nowadays. So this gives you in ounces per week what you're allowed to do, right? And this is per household. This is not per person like they do for unemployment with food stamps and stuff like that now. This is per household. So think about it. 2 ounces of tea. That's supposed to last your household for a week. And you're probably flipping out right now. What? Well, here's the key. You keep the tea through the whole week, and you keep the tea in some of the tea itself, and only take a little bit out and dilute it a little bit. Not the whole thing, only a quarter of it at a time. And you might have to refrigerate it to store it to keep it fresh. Okay. And you keep the tea bags or the tea that might be loose in a strainer. They have tea strainer things that you put tea in, and keep that in the tea for the week, right? That's how they got through. They got tea for the week. Also, 8 ounces of sugar. 8 ounces of sugar per week. So think about that. One sack of sugar that you buy in a store right now is at least 1 pound. And that, I believe, is the littlest bag that you can possibly buy in a store. And 1 pound is what, 16 ounces? So half that bag is what you're allowed for your whole family for 1 week. I want to put perspective here so you guys know how to maybe deal with stocking your pantries and stuff. And this is a good thing because this will help you not only through the times that we're going through right now with food shortages or high pricing, but also when there's emergency like a hurricane or any other disasters. Okay. Margarine. Okay. 4 ounces. That's like half of your, what is it? Little 4 cube things that you have in the store. No thing, you only get half that. Jam, like your Smuckers and all that. Most of those are like anywhere, close to 10 to 12 to 16 ounces. So imagine only a fourth of that would be your jam. Now you understand why so many people at home made their own jelly and jams. Right? 4 ounces of butter. That's a fourth, almost a fourth, well, less than that, of the pound that you might get. You have 4 sticks, in the, what is it, Land O'Lakes butter or something, right? Think about that, how much that is. Pull a stick out. I think that's like maybe a half a stick or something. That's why a lot of people, when they get like chicken or especially pork or beef, but especially the pork, they rendered the fat. Okay, if you don't know what rendering means they actually cooked down the fat to the point where it got so crispy, but there was a lot of liquid coming off of it. And they would save that and refrigerate that and use that because they didn't have any butter or margarine, and they would use that in their pans to cook by. Even 2 ounces of lard, which is less than the butter and margarine they're allowed. 1 ounce of cheese. 1 ounce of cheese. What are we buying in the stores right now? 8 ounces. That's like the little crumbs in the bottom of that package that you're allowed. 4 ounces of bacon, which is about 3 slices of ham. Imagine that per week. I'm going to show you guys how to critically cook things when you don't have them. I think that would be a good lesson for you guys. 1 egg of fortnight. 1 egg of fortnight, yeah. So you're allowed 1 egg, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. 1 ounce of worth of meat, which is what? Maybe it's 1 pound. I don't know. They're standard here, but they got lamb and beef 9, and then beef 11. Listen to this. 1 onion every 3 weeks. Can you imagine surviving off that kind of produce? 1 onion every 3 weeks. And it says if you buy any 10 meats in the can, which is Spam, corned beef, your little weenie things, whatever else might be in a can that might be some kind of meat product, then you had to have points from their rationing books. Right? So they give you a book and you got your stamps or you got your little whatevers in that book, and you turn in the stamps and then they stamp your book. See these books up here? Whoops, where'd it go? Right here. That's the book right there. Okay. So you give them the stamps for the item plus your money, your cash, and then they stamp like your passport in that book that you bought this week, so that if you come back to the store again and try to buy something else, they have to see your book. And if you've already gotten it, you can't get it again. Crazy, huh? All right, and then this one here is your pantry stuff. Okay, a lot of people don't know how to build a pantry dealing with food shortages or otherwise. This gives you an idea from the picture of what to look for, but don't hold this back just to like the beans and rices and pastas and things like that. Also seasonings, especially salt. Okay, especially salt. Anything salt product wise. Okay, more than likely they'll pull it off the shelf, and then you won't be able to buy it. But those are items that are like mandatory to have in your pantry. So yeah. Let's see here. But anyway, you guys get an idea. I'll keep adding to the board on this. You can check it out and, see my addition to help you guys get through times. But then also look at my shows because I'm going to post them in my Twitter. But I'm going to try to, I don't know when, maybe tomorrow or something. I don't know. To post shows on frugal way of living or a way to live with food shortages. I think that'll be the best title for a lot of the shows on what I'm going to be teaching you guys. So yeah, I'll do what I can. And if I see a good idea from someone else, I'll just put their video in my Twitter page, and then you can pick it up from there too. Okay. So anyway, any questions? No. Okay. All right. So we're going to get going, and I hope everybody enjoyed everything. We'll see you next time. And yeah, you just never know what we talk about next. So this is Boho with the info. We're over and out. Talk to you soon.